Whoa, you here? You, what are you doing here? I'm in the kitchen doing the dishes and cooking dinner and finishing my shaving, which kind of looks ridiculous now that I look at it. What are you doing here? I'm not here. I'm not live. I'm just randomly. What the? Are you having as much fun with that fish stuff as I do? Oh yeah, me too. So, what's better? Lots of hair, not as much hair. I'm still on the edge of. So, I'm having a lot of fun with fish, 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 more fish. And if the pre-roll finally finishes, even more fish. Oh, maybe I should click the right window. Hello again. Ooh, that's what I wanted, right? Badoom. And I have. Do you see that? Oh, you don't because what's a fish halo? A phalo? A fishalo? Uh, okay. I just had a good day because we have the fish, we have the animation, we have the fish movement. We almost have a game. So step one, I'm gonna do a bit of cleanup, tiny bit of cleanup, right? Well, step one is let's see if we are clean. Okay, we are clean. So let's extract the demo code, right? This nice fish halo is nice and stuff, but extract. So if I have the fish app here, we have all of this junk here, which is good for debugging and seeing if we broke it, but let's put that in a demo, right? So touch source Fiiish demo rs. Maybe it's test rs, but let's call it demo, right? So in Fiiish rs. Basically, it's a bit like Mixel, right? So let's open demo rs. Actually, let's cheat. Let's open Mixel, copy that, open demo, and just paste everything, and then we cut out everything we. So let's start to remove stuff. So this is demo, right? And ooh, this is gonna be interesting. Let's remove this all, right? Let's just, yeah, I could have started from an empty one. Might have been easier. So none of this, tear down, update, probably has to do something, and render will need to do something, right? But now we're just doing nothing. We are just doing nothing. So this is demo, right? And then in Fish app, we hook up the demo, right? Just like Mixel, I mean. And still not sure if I want to use this super demo here. And then just like demo, and demo enabled is a bool. We could say if we have a demo, we use it. If not, we don't. But so demo new. And let's start with demo enabled true for the moment, right? So far, so good. So in the setup, where we set up Mixel, right? And I'm gonna do this here. So self.demo setup, basically this, right? That's straightforward. So maybe we need some kind of wrapper for that. And the teardown is in reverse order. So self.demo doesn't really matter because teardown does nothing. And then the update, basically like this, right? So let's update the demo as needed. And then in the render at the very end, we say if demo is enabled. It's a bit sad that the D key is used, so I'm going to use T. So in the update, we have this, we use this to, let's move this down so it's grouped better. So let's say if T was pressed, then we do demo enabled, right? Well, then we toggle the demo enabled. Go run release. So far we just created an empty shell here, right? And almost perfect on try one. Almost. So close and yet so far. So where's my, oh, it spawned on the wrong screen. So nothing changed, right? We can enable and disable the demo or mixel, but nothing is happening. So I want to get rid of all this chaos code here. So the scaling and the MVP is still owned by the main app, right? So, and then we say all of this. So this is the swimming fish here, right? That's the fish circle. Let's move the fish circle here. And this always has a renderer. So there's, at this level, we know we have a renderer, right? This is the fish circle. And then probably we should have a, this doesn't need a texture, so that's fine. And then basically the test texture we also move into the demo renderer, right? It's just moving stuff around for now. We just making our main a bit cleaner, our main app. And so this is render all the click positions, which I will probably do in a minute, but for now I don't want to because I don't care. And the cursor we use a fish, right? So if I run this now, if I didn't totally mess it up, total time. Okay, we need total time. So I knew we would forget something. Probably the window update context should have a total time anyway at some point, but for now just say total time is 0.0, and in update we say self the total time plus equals book.timestep, right? Only missed one. We are gaining speed here, so I like that, and I should be doing it. Oh, we did, so we still can do this. We obviously, wait. We said use the fish swim, right? Why is it using the wrong texture? How dare you? I mean, it looks cool, but it's not. How? We have a use texture here, right? Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Oops. That's better. Can you? Please. I was drawing a lot of stuff there. That was just too much. That's better. So we have the one up here, the two up here, the fish, and we can still draw. And the draw stuff I actually want to... So the draw stuff I actually want to... Yeah. So I want the click stuff as well, right? So the cursor I want to keep in the main, because we might want that, but this here, right, this is the click stuff. This is the clicky stuff, so this will need the click positions, right? So we move the click positions. The click positions here are gone, and basically they are here. And then it's just the click positions vector new. And then somewhere we have, oops, click positions. So this needs to go. And then if the mouse button was pressed or the middle mouse button is held, we do this stuff and update, right? So reduce the noise, and then that is escape for exiting. This probably can go by now. This can go TM. This can go. This can go. We don't need to debug the renderer. Probably I want to render the mouse last, but in the end it doesn't matter. But I still want to render the mouse last, even after the game. Pretty sure I forgot to move one of the pieces, but let's see. Yeah, we don't have the cursor position, right? So the cursor position is interesting because the cursor position is not that trivial, right? That needs a scaling, and so how do we pass this through? I mean, I'm not sure if I even want to pass through the window update context here. The window update context is something that comes from our windowing system, right? And that's okay for the main app, but I'm not sure. I am not sure. Oh, I am sure. Touch source Fiiish app update. Oh, it's a component, right? It's not an app. It's a component, and I don't want to call it component because that conflicts with ECS. So it's the app update context. We call it app update context, right? So let's say the fish RS. They actually have this, and we have the app update context. We probably, so this is something I do a lot. I just dump code into one file like the Fiiish app, then I start to split it out, and then I merge then I have multiple of these parts, and I merge subparts of them together again, and that's what's ongoing right now. So the update context, I mean, I see high possibility that there will just be an update context somewhere on the radar. So let's just do update. I just copied the entity update context because right, so that's fine, and probably we just have the mouse position, mouse position, right? And that's just a vector 2. That's just a mouse position vector 2, well, 0 colons. And then we basically have the same, right, as with the time step. And I want this chainable stuff. So if you want to have the mouse position, then you have to get a vector 2. And that is just the mouse position reference. I'm sorry, I don't know where this is coming from. And then we have a set mouse position. Well, if you can set, and we make that chainable, so we have mouse position here, and that gets vector 2, and that basically has mouse position equals, and here we copy, right? So app update context is something we can use. So if we go to the app, so somewhere here, right? So let's say let app update context is app update context new, and then we say set time step is book.timestep, right? And then here we say let app update context is app update context dot set mouse position reference of self dot cursor pause. Let's call this cursor position, right? So the app update context has a cursor position, cursor, 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 cursor. Yeah, that was almost too good to be true. That was. And then the only place where I really wanted to set cursor position, I forgot. Right? Okay. So we have something that has the time. So what if we don't give the, what if we gave the AUC here, right? So this doesn't get the window update context. Well, it might, so let's just leave that in. This gets the app update. App is more than window, right? App is app internal stuff as well. So basically, this gets the app update context, right? The AUK app update context, and then we just take AUK cursor pause here, but then we miss the button stuff, right? So what if the app update context, just because I'm a lazy old... I don't want to copy this. what if, just for now, and please don't be mad at me, what if this had a book? What if this had a window update config reference? And this book is just, oh, maybe it has an option. And this just is a none. But if I do this, I'm not sure. I'm just playing with patterns here. This just is book is, and we just do some book. Oh, don't kill me, dear. And then we just have a getter, but that doesn't give us a reference. It just gives us a. This book thing will go, right? I'm totally breaking this stuff now, so this actually gives us an option to window update context, right? So if you need it, we might have it, but we might not have it. And I'm starting to slow down because I'm getting stuck in. So expected lifetime. Okay, so our lifetime, can we just, I mean, only this has a lifetime, so our lifetime is as max as long as, can you do that for me, please? Whoa. Okay, it wants a named lifetime. We cannot auto do this, so this has to live as long as we do, right? Let's fix the other error so we don't have to scroll. Line 40. S returns a reference, right? And we probably have lifetime. Okay, line 150 in Fiiish app. This is a bit hacky. I will clean this up in a moment. Maybe we should use a getter here, but no field cursor, pause on type demo. That is correct. So this is basically auk.cursor pause, right? And there's a getter for that. And then we say if let some book equals auk.book. Then we try to do something with that. If not, well, tough luck, right? We could just copy the mouse buttons, to be honest. Let's try this again. Why is lifetime static required? So, unresolved import. Oh, true. So demo line 13. Has a different scope. Not sure if it's smart to keep going like this. Vector 2 not found. Wait. App update context needs vector 2, right? So fair enough. Vector 2, vector 2, vector 2, vector 2. App update in Fiiish app. App update context not found. Because if we want to use it, well, actually, this one is closer. If you want to use it, you have to tell me that you want to use it. I'm not sure this is the best way of doing this, and I still haven't fixed the lifetime. Explicit lifetime required. Oh. So, shouldn't A be enough here? It is A, right? Yes, obviously we need to have the same lifetime here. Ding, 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 ding. Is it this coffee I cannot stand? Hmm. So, we get rid of all these lifetimes. All of them. And just copy the bloody thing. Right, so here we get a reference and we just copy the thing. Right? Okay, I mean, yes, this is not a reference anymore. Okay, fair. So in 184 here, we want, and that's, Rust has some downsides, and that's consistency in naming, and that's driving me a bit crazy, so the cursor, yes, because the cursor position is in, wait, method not found in app update context. Wait. Cursor position. Okay, position is always pos, right? Cursor pos. Position is one of the few things that we shorten. And if we shorten it everywhere. Set cursor position, cursor pos. Ein nicht with pop, pop. Yes, we need to, and this is so much cleaner in C or C++ because it's always the same. And I mean, why do I have change code when I just copy the code from one function to the other that basically have the same stuff, right? So move occurs because we don't implement copy, right? We have copy and clone, right? Oh, but that's the wrong place. I mean, it's the window update context that needs the copy and clone. almost as mutable as it is not declared as mutable, which is fair. We're almost there. So, right. Almost. I mean, we could make our life a bit easier. We could just create the update context down here. And that means we can just chain it here, right? That's better. Order independent coding. Almost. Because semicolon be gone. Chaining stuff is nice. Chaining stuff is nice. So, cargo run release. So I should be able to toggle the demo mode with T. I cannot draw currently, but if I can toggle it off and on again. So the middle mouse button is not working. I'm not sure why. So do we get here? Do we have a middle mouse? Do we have a window update context here? We don't, because we never set it. So set book to reference of book, right? Should probably be a mutable reference, but then we get into the whole borrowing mess. Maybe we do move it to the bottom. I'm not sure about that pattern currently. So I can draw again and I can click and I can disable the whole mess. And if it's disabled, also drawing is disabled, right? So I can draw, I can click and draw a lot here and it's not there. So and this means we have a nice clean fish game now. The demo is extracted and the default is just needs to be false here. And that means our renderer, I mean, we still have the clear, we have the scaling. Wonder if this could be I wonder if there was a way to make this a tiny bit cleaner. Not sure. Not sure. But basically it means down here, just render your stuff, right? So I want to do one more thing. Do I copy dash dash dummy data test texture 1.png to dummy data cursor.png, right? This is the cursor PNG. Yep. Let's see how my system starts to crawl now. Hello? Why? Oh, I still have a dialog on the other window. So this is one, right? So view zoom 4 to 1, and actually make this empty, drag in a helper, so add 32 and 32. Actually, let's zoom in one more level and say we want a black border. We want a 1 pixel brush. I'm not sure. Can you see how slow that is? I have no idea why. Whoa, holy moly. Let's do one more. That's no way of drawing this, right? That's just cruel. So let's do it like this. I'm sorry, I would make this much better, but what the is going on here? I sorry, I can't. I would love to, but I can't. I mean, it has like 10 seconds lag. What the hell is wrong here? I just want to set a few white pixels in here just for visibility. Sorry, have to do this later, I guess. Let's just pretend this is a very ugly cursor, right? And let's just kill the GIMP curse. Oh, yeah. So let's just think this is a very ugly cursor. So let's use cursor. Obviously, we have to load it. If you want to use it, we have to load it, right? And we don't need the fish swim anymore, right? So let's say cursor. This is not fully clean because we are using textures here that nobody has loaded. But if we go into the game, we know these are loaded here, so I can steal this one from here and put it here and just get rid of the other two, right? Cargo, check. Let's try if that helped. Let's see if this helped. Okay, so we have the super ugly cursor here. And forgive me, but you can't enable the test and draw. I should probably just use a crosshair, but I'm not going to open GIMP up again. And then we need to disable the system cursor, but I don't want to do that right now, because then I never know, is my offset wrong? What an ugly piece of... So, to do, extract demo code out of Fiiish app, and that's exactly what we did, right? And then let's see what else we did. What the? Can I just, thank you. So updated the to-do, added the app update context, a bit hacky. Use the app update context. Cleaned up a bit of the game code. Make that copyable. Add the ugly cursor. Add super ugly cursor. Mouse cursor. Pull request welcome. Extract demo code into separate file struct. Yeah, and that's it. Let's push this stuff. So what's next? I mean, so one problem we have. If we go to end frame, right? Let's say let total vertices equals 0, and that's mutable. Let mute total materials equals 0. Let mute total materials with vertices equals 0, right? So for every material, we say total vertices plus equals VC, right? We always do that. Total materials is plus equal 1. And if VC is larger than 0, if there were any vertices in this material, then total materials with vertices plus equals 1, right? So if I print all of this at the end, and just always, so render stats, maybe we should make that toggleable, but so this is total vertices, right? This is total materials with vertices, and this is total materials, right? Thank you for nothing. So the problem we have right now is if we run this, remember we aim to have as little, the smallest number of possible render batches. Right, so we currently have 12 vertices, 2 render batches that actually have vertices, 2 materials that actually have vertices, and 30 materials. Because of the animations, right? And if I enable the testing code, it's 6 materials right now because every texture automatically needs a different render batch, and that's not what we want, right? And if we turn on Mixel, it gets worse. So I mean the total number never goes down, but oh, why is Mixel? Oh, Mixel is actually using draw cursor. So let's go to Fiiish app and name this. Let's go to Mixel, and it's finding the wrong cursor. So let's call this Mercer. No. Let's call this M cursor, right? And then we use M cursor here, and maybe call this M canvas, and use M canvas here. So our problem right now is that we're switching the hardware ID of the texture too much, and that's not something that we want, right? That is not something that we want. So you see when at the beginning it counts up because we have different hardware IDs for the textures. So let's text. I'm not even sure what I'm doing anymore. Something is broken. Oh, obviously here we have to render the right. Maybe change the name in one place and not in 5 places. Maybe. Maybe, yes. Watch the number of materials count up when it starts. So here it goes up because whenever it hits a texture for the first time, it creates a material. It just keeps that, but it just renders 2 of them, which is, then we have the test code, and this should still be 1 batch ideally. Well, 2 because we have 2 different shaders, and then we have Mixel, and this is looking better right now. And Mixel needs its own texture because it needs a separate hardware texture for updating. Well, this is interesting. So we want to keep these numbers small, right? So what we could do is create a texture atlas, right? So right now, if I look at Fiiish data and I want to commit before we have loads of individual textures, right? And if we remember the original Fiiish, open data. Where's my window? There. Has just an atlas. So for example, the game atlas PNG has all the textures in one file, so it never needs to switch the hardware texture, right? So shall we I want to do one commit because this fixes Mixel. This is statistics, so fix Mixel to use distinct texture names, add renderer, add some statistics to renderer, right? So commit this. So what we're doing right now, I mean, we have the Fiiish data, right? And actually it was a bad idea to have that in the data. Hmm. So data is the output, right? So let's say we had a directory that we call wrong shell. So let's say we have Fiiish fish content, right? So data is output, content is input. And we have dummy content just for reference. So what we're doing right now, and then in the fish content, we have a fish, right? So if we copy fish data, fish star.png to fish content fish. So we would have a data converter, right? So touch convert, let's call it pack fish data, right? So what we're basically doing, if we open pack fish data, what we're basically doing is we're copying from fish content slash fish fish underscore star.png to fish data, right? So if I run pack fish data, well, if I remove everything from data, well, all the PNGs, let's do exa. So there's nothing in fish data, right? So when I pack fish data, it copies all the PNGs over there. And actually, just because just to make sure there's no conflict, right? But we don't want these individual files, right? So we have this cool tool called OMT. It's open source. Basically, it's bin OMT, right? So it's OMT Atlas. So if I run it with help, it has a combine mode, right? Combine mode. So the combine mode gets a border. So let's say border is 1. The input is actually let's set the size, right? Size is 2048. The output is fish data game atlas. Is it dash %d? I think it is, and the input is basically fish content fish, right? Let's assume everything in fish for now. Every fish star.png. So it created one atlas with all the files. So if I open fish data game atlas 0.png, I have everything in one texture, right? The two dead fish and the other animation. So if I loaded this into a texture, I could use one render batch for that. So let's capture this line of code. And this is copy individual images. And this is combine images. Actually say needs OMT atlas in pass. Right, so let's just say this. Then you can install it where you want, and I just do export pass equals tilde/bin : $pass. And then I can just run pack fish data, and that runs everything. and also OMT atlas dash dash help has this preview mode. So help. Oh, we have info. So let's look at info real quick. And info just needs input, fish, data, game atlas. I think it's %d. So it basically tells you, okay, there's an atlas named Atlas 0, and it tried to find an Atlas 1 as well, with a size of 2048, no border, and there's a 128 by 128 subtexture at 0, 0, that is the fish die. So all the info of the structure, how it's laid out, is there. So we can also do OMT atlas preview help, and that also just gets an input. So we could do input fish data game atlas %d again, and now it opened the file, gave us a checkerboard, and in this case it's a bit trivial because they're all square, and it combined all, it flickers the blue borders. So I'm gonna preview is this, and info is basically this one here, right? So this one. And yes, we can do more with this, but let's just say that's step one. So we have an atlas file now, but nothing can load it, right? So for now, I'll just leave this on to have both versions there. To have both versions there, but we need that atlas stuff, right? So work in progress is add texture atlas, right? So what is a texture atlas? Let's look into OMT, right? A texture atlas, source, atlas, atlas. Basically, new file name, set, get base names, simple format, atlas, debug, split, add. Where's the? So this is basically the loader, right? Load atlas here. So where's the load atlas? That's the interesting part, right? So we open a file, we can do that. We have a buffered reader, we don't need that. We check the magic, and we read U16. So we could do it like that. We could just extend OMT to. I'll just manually load this stuff right now. So we can open a file, we can read U16, we can read U16, well, we can read U8, so we need to read U16 and then we need to read F32, right? That's all. And then we have a 3x2 matrix. So we need a 3x2 matrix, we need some file loading, and that's probably what we're gonna do tomorrow. Yes, it says to do support compression, but they're so small, so this is compression mode. And actually the compression mode in the reader doesn't implement compression, right? So compression would mean the content would be zlib compressed, and we never implemented that because let's do a bit of this. Let's do a bit of it. Right now, let's just, so how would I want? So I, as the app, have to load everything, right? At some point, I load all the textures, right? So what I really want to do is, and it's a bit like the game RS that loads the animated texture, right? I have a texture atlas, load all, that needs a system and a renderer, which I luckily have at this point. So I do have a system. Well, this is self system, so I need to pass in self system, and I need to pass in the renderer, which I have, and then I just have the prefix, right? How did we do the? Now that I think about it, the Atlas previewer. No, the Atlas info, right? Let me check this. So OMT Atlas. This is my repository, so has an info mode that gets the %d and prints that out, and then it does Atlas info based on that input, right? So we have an Atlas info. We have an info here that gets a template. All for template. What does all for template do? Okay, where does it handle the %d? Simple format U32. So I had that problem before. Oh, so this just does a regex replace. Interesting. Interesting. Maybe that's a nice formatter helper that we need to create somewhere. Maybe that's interesting. So, but basically I want to say game atlas %d, right? That's what I want to load. And then everything that's in there is magically registered in the renderer, right? So what if touch source renderer texture atlas.rs, right? So derive debug pub struct texture atlas impl texture atlas, and then we have this thing we just used, so we have the load all, right? Which gets the system, the renderer, and the game atlas, which is basically like the animated texture a bit. So the register all, so texture atlas has a load all. And maybe it could just have a load one and we explicitly knew how many we have, but and actually I want to use the template version here and not the prefix. So we have a template, right? And we return how many we loaded. That's fair. So right now we just load none, right? And then in the renderer, obviously we hook that up. We hook up the texture atlas, just the usual. Right now it does nothing, but sometimes stubbing nothing is... And I think I did it all. Something is weird here. Probably I've got some stuff. Yeah, we need the renderer, we need the system in the atlas, which is fine. I mean, we need the renderer and the texture and the system, right? We don't need the texture right now, but we will need it in a minute. And then obviously in the Fiiish app, we need the texture atlas, right? Oh, yes. So in the Fiiish app, where's the load all? Here. It's mutable reference, right? And maybe fix that space here. So now we have stopped this all, right? We have stopped this all, and it will just do, if I run this now, wow, I did a lot of stuff since running this. Cargo run release. So this is still working, but nothing changed, right? Because our texture atlas load all doesn't do anything. So step one, and actually we can steal from ourselves, right? The simple format, we just keep, right? We just keep. And to do, we need to put that somewhere. To do move somewhere more safe, right? So that means let mute I equals 0. Then we loop for all of them. And then we say basically I plus equals 1. So that's the end of the loop. And we say let name equals simple format U32 template I, right? And then at some point we say, okay, we did this for the animated texture. Remember, we get the file system. We get the file system, and we actually have a to load, unfortunately. So we get the file system, we have a to load, and then we say, and then we have to do some extra. The name X actually is not so bad, so name X is actually, and the name is, so the name is always .atlas, and we need a .png, right? So we need both of them. So first let's say name, let's say name atlas. If there's no atlas, well, tough luck. Atlas, right? And then we say if fs exists, name atlas, and fs exists name, and just png for now. I mean, else we're done, right? Else we just break. If they both exist, we say to load push, I'm not sure where that O comes from, name to owned, right? So at the end of this, to load if I didn't, well, we need to create the name PNG as well. We can clean this up with some helpers, but basically at this point we say debug to load to do die. So if I run this, if it compiles, it should just find the first atlas. It needs regex. Yeah, so where does regex come from? It comes from use regex. Uh-oh, did we just pull in an extra dependency? I mean, regex encode is never a good idea, but this is this should come from a config file. So instead of load all, we should just say load with this name, load with this name, load with this name. So the load all is a bit hacky in itself. Cray cargo at regex. No, I'm not gonna implement. I'm not gonna implement a regex parser. Hey, what if I tell you that I wanted to do work till 9 and then stop? it's a curse. But I'm in such nice flow that I'm probably gonna hack for a while longer. Oh, I made good progress. We have animated textures now, and we have the fish swimming and the old swimming logic ported, and now I'm loading texture atlases because I don't want like 50 materials. I want one material that renders one render batch. So okay, it loads game atlas 0. So this is nice. So what do we do with this? For a in, let's say for name, in to load. So we will need a hardware texture, so we will need to load the texture, right? We will need to load iter. So now let's load them all. Loading a texture is easy, right? We did this like only a gazillion times, right? We just create and register texture. So the thing is, yes, we register this texture for debug purposes, but we need more of it. So let t equal texture create, and here we just do something with it. So we know the name, right? The name is the name. The name is the name. PM, it's 9 PM, 2100. PM, so like 20 minutes ago. But I'm in the flow, and I'm gonna do this. So the thing is, if I stop when I stop the stream, I have to do the dishes in the kitchen, and kitchen dishes. Well, lunch, dinner. So that is one thing we have to do, right? We have to load the physical hardware texture, and we can just do a quick check in the app, right? What we could do is we could just do we know what the game atlas 0, right? And then we render a pretty big quad with it. Right, so debug render atlas, just to prove that the loading is working. Nine PM is 40 minutes away from you, so you're Spain, Britain? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Let's see how the flow. Okay. Obviously. The thing is, I just wanted to stop this out, and then I just wanted to do a little bit more, and then, and basically let's return. Oh, let's return 0 here for now, because it doesn't really matter. UK, whereabouts? I should be in the UK right now, but I got stuck here in Germany, and then Brexit happened, and yeah, cut and paste coding doesn't always work like you want to, right? Just move this code around, everything will be the same, he said and forgot to fix it up. So in theory, we should have a nice big version of our atlas on screen now, which shows that at least, yeah, so our atlas is, oh, yeah, um, I didn't want to use the mouse position here. Why would I use a vector 2 new 0, 0? West London, nice, yeah. So I would be like 40 miles southwest of you right now, but obviously I ain't. I ain't. I aren't. I'm not. Well, you know what I mean. I love London. I almost moved to Paddington last year, which would have been fabulous. But then life happened and stuff happened. So we loaded our texture. So we have a hardware texture for the Atlas now, but we need kind of logical textures. So this is going to be a bit ugly because for this we need to actually load the Atlas. And for that I'm actually going to say pop fn load. And well, what's 40 miles southwest of London? I mean, there's not that much. So this will return a self. So this will need a mutable system, right? Because we will do file loading. And this is just I used to live in Winchester. Maybe it's more like 25 miles. Actually, I lived in Winchester for like 2 years. And St. Thomas Street, which is right off the main street. Yep, bingo. I'm not gonna say it out loud because then it will be on YouTube forever. Yep, exactly. Next to telling me we work at the same company. Stalker. Joking. So let's say okay, step 1, we have to open the file, right? So let mute f. Oh, probably this should have a name, right? And this name and why do I do this in the Fiiish app when I need to do it in the texture atlas, right? So the load all is just a helper, and the load loads a single one, and it only loads the layout. So the config file. So down here we have to do something in between, and that's basically we need to say let TA texture atlas is texture atlas load. Can this fail? I don't care, because then we get an empty one and an error message. So this needs the system, and basically we create the name again, but that's fine because this won't be here forever. Oh, let's put it here, right? And then we just load the name atlas. And this will be a lot of binary parsing. So we say system, default system, open name, right? Open name. And then we say if f is valid, then we loading atlas from name, right? And that will need to do something, but basically I just want to make sure we can open the file because we're gonna do a lot of binary parsing right now. And actually maybe we should use a generator for that, but maybe not. Maybe let's see how far we can get with our file system abstraction. And I have a feeling we're gonna get pretty far. Oh, wait. Why? Okay. I wondered why it was stuck. Fiiish is in the App Store. So iOS, Apple TV. I'm not sure if I ever released the macOS version. Just search for Fiiish with a triple I. There used to be an Android version, but Android maintenance took like 99% of development time, so I just stopped. So this is a die we expected, loading Atlas from. I'm not sure why this took so long. So now it's gonna get interesting, right? Because we have the binary format of the Atlas. We have a load somewhere here. So basically the layout is U16, that is the magic. So let's load the magic, right? So let m equal f dot read, and we only have a U8, but we want a U16, so let's do this. So file stream. So what if we said U16 gets a mutable self? I mean, a U16 is just two U8s, right? So what if we just said let elf a lower, let's say a, let's say a equals self.read. And the file systems can override and create a better version if they have a faster way of doing it. And then we use it as a new 16 instantly. Then we just do A, shift 8. And I love to use braces here just for clarity. B, right? And probably we messed that up. So let's just do this very carefully. So this should be the magic, right? So this should be, actually let's oh, there's more magic coming up. Let's actually do that, right? So this actually is magic. and we expect this, and then we say, if the magic is correct, we continue, right? Otherwise, we do nothing. So else print line got broken magic. Expected OX4F53 got. Actually, can we format that? This probably will not work. Yeah, just delete it before you give it back. She might get sucked into it and play forever. Unexpected token because I'm a dumb person. Maybe if the Rust port goes well, I'll do a report to Android, because I hope that's easier than maintaining that Java stuff. I'm wondering why this is taking so long. Oh, I know why this is taking so long. Because it's so. Because the game Atlas is, oh, it's only 4.4K. So got expected this, got this. We just looked up Rust format, right? I just want to know, can we format as hex? Yeah, we can. X question mark. So where is this? We can do X question mark. I'm wondering if my byte swapping is wrong, or if we just load wrong data. The, the documentation is just can I get an example, please? Can I do this? What is taking so long at this step? Is it the seek? Yeah, this is just... Okay, so our 534F is not 4F53, so that's what I feared, right? So we swapped the bytes the wrong way, and this is not endianness safe. But I don't want to implement read on our file just yet. Not just yet. I wonder why this step. So this step, this read takes forever. Doesn't make any sense, but we got the right magic, so that's good. So if we get the right magic here, right? If we get the right magic, then we need the chunk magic, and I actually gonna... Then we check the chunk magic, and the chunk magic is just a loop. I will change the flow here in a second, right? Because I don't like where this is going. Give me a moment. So I'll do a new here that just gives us a default one, right? And the load will actually give us a bool and mutate an existing one. Right, so right here we have two steps. We have texture atlas new, and then we have a ta.load. That's easier from the flow because I can just go back to, okay, if it's not this, then I do the broken magic thing and just return false, right? Just arrow out step by step. And then we say, also we twist this and say not return false. I can't type anymore. That makes it just so much easier to avoid the deep nested. Just do the checks one by one, and then we do the chunk magic. Verify this and just return false here. Right? And all this goes away. And obviously this is F read U8, that always is successful. And then we got broken chunk magic. Chunk magic expected. And that is basically expected M, comma B. Right, so we check the byte. Well, if you're going, I can go, right? Well, thanks for being here. Always helps with the motivation. So I'll be here all week long, and you can follow the progress. Texture expected, nothing found. Bool 103. Wait, why don't you expect nothing when I have a bool here? Oh, oh, oh. I killed the for loop. I killed the for loop. I'll probably still be here when you come back. I'm wondering why this step is taking so long. It's loading 4K into memory. Expected for F got 1. Game Atlas. Oh, that's... Oh, so we get a 0100, which is probably a version header which we skipped. Yeah, we skipped, so let v equal f dot read u16 if v not equals 1, return false, and print line version not supported. Binary parsing, always fun. Well, what's going on at this point? I mean, this is loading from Atlas, right? And then it does a read U16. And a read U16 is just a read U8. And a file stream disk, read U8, is just a buffered read. So the magic chunk is correct as well. So let's move on. Magic chunk, then we get the entry count, right? So entry count is f dot. Actually, my interface I prefer, and probably this should be like 28. Maybe 28. 28 sounds good, right? 28 sounds good. I should stop drinking coffee. I'm not sure what's blocking at this step. Got 339 entries. What? We read the magic chunk. Oh, we skipped a few bits. So we read the flex. Yeah. So this is a chunk magic, then come the chunk flex, and basically false. And this is print line compression not supported yet. Not supported. And then we have the chunk version. And then we have the entry count. I mean, usually I print this out on a piece of paper. So this is a chunk version, but this is my own code. So this is a chunk version. And this is basically a print line. So we check every bit and piece, every piece by piece by piece. So now we should get a 28, I hope. Almost. Yeah. Good that you rewrote all the tooling for the OMT stuff in Rust last year, because we can reuse all of that right now. And Flex the same, I mean. Oops. Yeah, I'm not focusing anymore, so I wanted to stop 45 minutes ago, but we're making so good progress. I just bite myself through this now. This step is kind of, why is this so slow? Doesn't make any sense to be slow there. Or is the die actually slow? Got 29 entries. So if I run the info again, it's these two plus 0 to 20, so it's 29 entries, right? So all we have to do now is load 29 entries, and basically Windows forces me to do an update. So we do this 29 times, and basically, what is it? So what's the format? It's a name that has an exact size of 128. Yeah, we can do that. We do a to UTF-8, yes. We truncate that, yes. Then we have the matrix. So I lean towards having an atlas entry. So how about this pub struct? Do we really want to do that? Do we need that? I mean, it's cleaner. Entry, and nobody else uses this, so this is fine, right? And then this has entries, which is a vec of entry, right? And then the initializer has basically entries vec new. Then we say here, let mute e equal entry new. And then we say if not e.load, and that just gets the file. Then we return false. Otherwise, we just do self.entries push e, right? So obviously we have to do the not sure where to do this. Probably just here. An implementation for entry new, which is just a self, to be defined, and then we have a pub function load, which is a mutable self, and f file, which is oh, interesting, which is an implementation of file system stream, right? And that returns a bool, and for now we just return oh, okay, false. Yeah, we return false. And down here we say if the load failed, we say print line load of entry x of x failed, right? So we do, and actually this is I, because I comma entry count, right? So this should fail at entry 0 of 29. It's close. Time to stand. I am standing. I'm still standing, and I'm pretty sure file system stream is not found, which is fair, because we didn't use it. If you use it, use it. Oh, it's a box doing even better. So this is a box dynamic. Dynamic dispatch in Rust is a bit rough in my point of view. But who am I to complain? I mean, I'm just a user. As long as it's good for the developers. Value moved here. Yes, because, well, we want to borrow that mutable, right? So we want to borrow the box mutable here. Obviously. I wonder if I just switch everything to ref cells and be done with all this. No, I'm joking. Why is this taking forever? I mean, this will fail at 0 of 29, right? It should, because we return false. Is the die taking so long? So this failed at 0 of 29, right? So let's implement this load. I mean, we know what to do, right? So step 1, we read 128 bytes of let name buffer equal vec with capacity 128, right? It's not 0 terminated, so that's fine. So we do for underscore in 0.128, we say let b equal f dot read u8, and then we just say name buffer dot push be correct, and then at the end of it we just say string from utf8. So I mean, name buffer is a vec, right? So we don't need the 2vec here. And then we just debug the name before we error out. Yeah, it could be faster if I wrote larger chunks of code in one go, but I like it like this. F not found in this scope. Not sure. It's A in the signature and B the internal. If it was C++ in the header, I would have the long version, and well, I wouldn't, but I could. Cannot borrow name buffer as it is not declared as mutable. That is harsh. Truth. So I would expect to see a fish die 0-0 now. After like 30 seconds of contemplation. Oh. We have fish die 0-0 and we didn't cut off all the zeros, but we know how to do that, right? We just truncate the name. That's easy. We truncate at the first 0 or at the full length, which is cool, and then we have the matrix buffer, which is okay, if you say so. So this is basically the matrix. Basically, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to say vac with capacity, what was it, 32? 6. No, actually, this is actually not so bad what I did here, right? And we don't have f read 30. Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. So how do you do a read f32? I mean, what I would do is, I would say I have a read f16 implementation or f32 implementation. I have a read 32 implementation, and this is probably unsafe, so I read the 4 bytes, right? And then I probably would do it like this, and C is shift 16, and then D is shift 24. Right, that's the FU33, unless somebody overloads it, and then we have to read F33, which is self F33, and because I'm lazy, I'm gonna say let F equals self dot read U33, and then I need to rust reinterpret cast. Mem transmute. So this is probably what I want, right? I knew I was close. So basically we say well, basically we know the return type, right? So we just transmute. So whatever is in this memory, just pretend it's a float, which should be fine. And at the end, I just debug the matrix buffer. I mean, this should be semi-sensible values, like 1/8 or, oh, obviously. This might help. Actually, let's do it like this, just because I can, right? Bit of OCD, but sometimes formatting, a little bit of formatting goes a long way later when debugging. And I hope it optimizes out the shift by 0. Well, I hope, I didn't say I'm sure. Come on. What's taking so long? Okay, so this does look reasonable. So that's a diagonal in the matrix, so position 0, 0. and position, now I broke it, and position 1, 1. So that doesn't look too bad. So we don't have a matrix 3, 2, which is a bit sad. So what's next? This is a matrix buffer, and why do we even do this? I mean, all we need is a matrix, right? So all we need is a matrix. And I'm just gonna push this under to do for tomorrow. To do add matrix 3, 2, right? Add mtx colon matrix 3, 2. And for now we just have a name which is a string, right? So all our entries have, so basically if everything goes well and we go all the way to the end, we say self.name equals name. And we return true, because, I mean, worst case we loaded a bunch of zeros, so I'm not too worried. Something is, oh, this is a load all, that's the wrong loop. So somewhere here we say debug self.entries, right? Maybe just debug self, and we should have all the texture names in there. Should, could, would. Should, could, would. Missing name. Oh, the initializer needs an empty name for the entry. That's true. Yeah, this has to go. Or I make like, just buy the beard perk already. I have no idea why this is taking so long at this step. So we do have all of our let's do the matrix 3 too, right? Touch, source, mass, matrix 3 2.rs. I mean, so how do we do this matrix? Does a matrix 3 2 come before matrix? Yeah, it does. 3 2 3 2 3 2, and then we have matrix 3 2, and here we have matrix, I don't know, this 3 3 is a good one. So we need vector 2, right? We need vector 2 and we need matrix 2 2, right? And then we have a pub struct matrix 3 2, and that is basically a rotation, which is a matrix 2 2, and a position, right, which is a vector 2. Following. And then I want to implement from F32 6 for matrix 3 2, right? And then in a texture atlas loader, all I have to say is self dot mtx equals matrix buffer into, right? Because that's an F32.6, so that should trigger. So we say mtx is matrix 32. We need to use create mass matrix 32. Well, probably matrix 32 should have a new, right? So, well, it should have an identity, right? Identity is always good. And that is basically the rotation is matrix 22 identity, and the position is vector to 0, right? I hope we have all of these bits and pieces. And then here we just say matrix is matrix 3, 2. Identity is always a good start, right? I'm long overdue. This day has been far too long. Missing from implementation. So, okay, the debug is not there, but the from implementation. So we want a debug here. You want it, you get it, and then we need the implementation. And the type here is F32.6. Right, and this is an and then we have a self, and basically it's row wise. So this is rotation is, let's copy these two. This is basically how did we implement matrix 2,2? Matrix 2,2 is 2 vectors, right? So when we knew the matrix 2,2, we get 2 vectors, right? X vector 2 and y vector 2. Well, can I have a self here, please? This is basically x is x and y is y, correct? So down here we say new, and this is basically reference of vector 2 new, and that is m0. Now it's gonna get interesting. And m3, correct? And m3. I'm gonna write a unit test for this. And this is, well, 3, 2, right? And this is basically new m2 and m5, if I am not mistaken. We only have to do this stuff once, luckily. Yeah, it was clear. So vector 2 cannot be dereferenced. So matrix 2, oh, because we forgot the reference here, right? Which is fine. I hope all these copies get optimized away. And zero cost abstraction, right? Okay. Maybe I want to implement debug manually. Basically, this is a rotation matrix and this is a position, so ignore the bad. So the rotation is the scaling and all of them are the same size, so all of them are the same, but the position is basically offset by the size, so this looks good. We could use a better matrix formatter, yes. I'm gonna put this on the to-do. Write better formatter for matrix YY and vector Y. About the texture atlas, so we loaded everything. So we do have all the info we need. So what does a load all do now? And we did do a load, so here we have to do basically ta dot for enta dot iter, right? And we just pass out the iter. So we just say function iter, and I'm too lazy as usual. Reference to self.entries.iter, right? And let the compiler figure out what type we want. The usual old trick. The usual old trick. Oh, you didn't see that? Yeah, I stop at 9. Good one. Very, very good one. Okay, so it expects this, right? Because now all we have to do is create fake textures. Yeah, thanks for helping me, Rust. All we have to do now is create logical textures and register them with the what? A trait iterator is not implemented for what? A trait iterator is not implemented for Atlas entry. Why not? I mean, we are inside, right? So technically we could just do dot entries dot iterate. We have access. Do we? Do we? Yes, we do. So what we do here now is we open texture. I mean, we have to create, and we have to create canvas, right? And we have to create pub create create. How do we do this? The thing is, it references a different texture right now, right? It references this one here. So from Atlas, and let's just not do anything right now. So we just create a new one. Actually, yes, we want the name, right? This signature will change, but basically what we say, okay, we say let t equal texture, no, just texture, create from Atlas with dot name, right? And then we basically say render dot register texture t, right? I mean, that's just a dumb stop, and that texture doesn't really exist yet. So what we need is the matrix, right? So we need a matrix 3 2, because that is how we that is mtx matrix 3 2, and we always have that. So in the new we have mtx is matrix 3 2 identity. So that's how we map the real texture to the subtexture. And in the from Atlas case, we actually get an mtx reference of matrix 3 2 and say t.mtx equals mtx, right? So that means store the matrix. And then we actually need the Atlas. The Atlas. Oh, the Atlas. So this is this T, right? Let's call this TE. So this needs an Atlas, and that's a reference to texture, right? And then we cheat and say, the thing is, in this case, we don't need a hardware ID, right? So in this case, the hardware ID, so we don't do a new. So we just do a name to string. Hardware ID is basically the Atlas hardware ID. To do, and the matrix is this, right? And we just get rid of this, because this will create a new hardware ID, which is what we do not want. Maybe we need to refactor this a bit. And then I want a getter for the matrix. right? That means if somebody destroys the other texture for some unknown reason, we have coupled the lifetimes now where we're something that is unrelated. So we need to clean that up. Hey, how are you? I logged off an hour 20 minutes ago. Don't. Uh. Great to have you here. Great to have you here. So I'm just breaking everything by my. So I currently have the problem, which will work, because when we create a texture from an atlas, we basically link the hardware IDs because they should be the same. And the width and the height don't really matter. So, but the problem is this hardware ID becomes invalid as soon as this atlas becomes invalid, which never happens right now because we don't have a deregister texture, but basically link two objects, local objects, to one remote ID on the GPU, and then I'm not so happy about this, and I'm far too tired to. Let's see if this even compiles. Let's see if this even does compile. Yeah, obviously it doesn't. Okay, what did I do wrong? Wait, what? We should stop. So hardware ID. Yeah, I mean we can just upcast this, right? That's fine. Where's line 78? That is correct. That was just sloppy. And obviously we have to supply all the arguments. So this is from atlas e.mtx and ta, right? This is a hack I'm gonna clean up tomorrow, and basically we don't die here, right? We could fix this counter here. I mean, basically this is let total textures registered equals 0, and I always do this. That was the first mistake I made in Rust, and since then it's so deeply ingrained. So whenever we register, we just say plus equals 1, right? If my GPU burns up now, mm, mm. So actually we don't want the TA here, we want the T. We need better names there. I wonder how we would link the lifetime. So basically when the TA is destroyed, we want the T to be destroyed. Matrix 3.2 doesn't implement copy. That is correct. That is easily fixable, right? Because this is copy and clone. And probably matrix 2.2, yes. Copy, clone, and probably vector 2. Nope, vector 2 we already fixed. This will, after I hack this game together this week, this will need a month of cleanup. I just leave chaos behind. Oh, let's run the debug version. Let us run the debug version. I'm so hungry. Give me food. I have no idea why this is hanging at this point so long. I'm not sure what's blocking there. There's no... Okay. So the nice thing is... it's logging far too much stuff. So the nice thing is it's loading all these textures. So it's loading all these... Wait. No, that's the animated texture. Where's the... So this is these entries do look good. Is it registering atlas subtexture with renderer? This cannot be true. This would mean it just worked straight away. And actually, let's go to the renderer and remove the debug, reduce the noise a bit. It's in my state of mind, it cannot be. Let's put this in here. This cannot have worked just instantly. I didn't even check if the fish was rendered correctly. I mean, less than 2 hours for texture atlas system wouldn't be too bad. So it says registering atlas subtexture with name fish swim 00, hardware ID 1, width height, matrix is something. So it's registering all of these, which is good. Then it's loading them again, which is fine. Probably we don't need to debug the width and height anymore. Then we load the fish die, which shouldn't matter, and then I wonder with effect, program, shader, rendered. We need the texture here. We do need the texture here. So material 1, fish die uses texture hardware ID 1. Material 2. So the texture names will be wrong now, right? The texture names will be wrong because I mean it's only using 4 materials, so that's if it only uses 4 material. Yeah, but this is a hobby project and I don't have time for this, so I think this might actually be using... No, it's still using 30 materials. I mean, it's still working. Oh, I see. So here's the one thing. Let's just start this again. Cause it's adding the frickin' PNG. So it's basically, where's the registering? So it should be registering fish swim 21 and not fish swim 21.png, right? So in the atlas here, this name here is wrong, right? So let mute name without extension. We clone the name and then basically we do the find first that we did here, right? And then we truncate. I mean, probably we should do a find last. So maybe this should be last 0, right? But to do last dot might be better. But right now there's just one dot in there, so we truncate at the last dot. Obviously we need to use the correct variables. By default it's just the full length, and that then is the name we use, right? And now the rendering will be totally broken, because they all will be using the same hardware texture, but with a wrong texture matrix. I'm not sure what... It's loading 4K of text, so I have no idea why this is so insanely slow. So now it's just using 3 materials, and it's using the full atlas because we don't yet do the subtexture mapping. But if I... So it's registering fish swim 07, and that's nice, right? We still double register the texture, so we should probably... That's an interesting one. So technically every call, if everything is in an atlas, then all calls to register texture outside of an atlas, so this one here, should be obsolete. The problem is the way we do it. We say we create the texture first and then we check if it exists. So, but I don't want if texture exists, don't do anything. That's kind of... I mean, we could do in the renderer. Oh god, I'm breaking it. So we have the register texture here, right? And that says add. So if I go to the add here, no, this is the material. So if I go, oh yeah, so this could say, this could say if something with the same name is already there, don't push it, and that would mean it will be dropped. But for now, I mean, I can't tell you how happy I am that the rendering is broken. By the way, why is this file... changed? Okay, because the demo uses that. I mean, what is going on there? So this is still working. Let's enable the test. So all of them are using the wrong texture. Well, they're using the right texture, but the wrong mapping. Oh man, it's getting late, but this is so exciting. Maybe only have 6 materials right now. Let's turn on Mixel as well. So, did you see the fabulous mouse pointer thingy? So it's only 8 render batches right now for everything. I mean, still 8 render batches for everything, including the animated fish thingy. I love it. I love it. I love it. But with this, add texture atlas. This is in progress. Fix sub texture position. Sub texture text chords via texture mtx. Right? Yeah, we added regex. I'm sorry. Add texture atlas. Work in progress. Sub texture text chords are broken. The demo, yes, we have the atlas and we load the full atlas here. We render the game atlas so we can actually see it. We added the matrix 3.2. Add matrix 3.2. New to the 2.2. Okay, renderer. Texture atlas support. Texture create from atlas. I'm not sure about the linkage of this hardware ID. It does work. And for this game, we probably never release textures, but this is a bit scary. So actually, future subtext fix fix linkage between texture atlas subtexture where hardware ID. That's actually a scary one. Just make sure we track this. So we added a U16, U32, and F32 reader. We added all the assets to the content directory because that allows us to run the converter. So we added add assets to content directory, add fish assets. And then we have the atlas file, the atlas map file, which is the debug file basically, and this is the atlas itself. Then we added the packer script. Maybe we should extend the README to tell where OMT is to be found, but everybody watching right now knows. Then we have the matrix 3.2, which I mentioned up here, and then we have the texture atlas itself, which is a work in progress and needs cleanup tomorrow. Just 45 changes. As always, and I'm gonna link both. So we have fish. We have fish, and actually all the latest commits are here. We have the code for this project, and we will need OMT, right? Basically, yeah, we will need OMT for the converter, so I'm gonna paste this as well. And I will add that to the README at some point. But let me try if I can run this on Windows. I mean, we did commit the data file, so it should. Oh, did we actually run the debug version the whole time, and that's why it's so slow at loading? Okay, yep, Windows version looks exactly the same and is still working, so nice. I think we will have been building the debug version was so slow. Okay. So with that, as always, thanks for being here. Hit follow, and we will continue with this tomorrow. Good night.